All of the queries that we've been working with throughout this course have been examples of select queries. Basically, queries that select and manipulate data from our tables and present the results in a new but temporary table format. But Access also has a couple of other query types that we can work with. The first type is called the crosstab query. Like the select queries, the crosstab query pulls information from our data tables and reorganizes it. But unlike a select query, the crosstab query is presented more like a standard spreadsheet, with column headers and row headers. Let's take a look at how we can incorporate crosstab queries into our database. First, I'm going to go to the Create tab and choose the Query Wizard. Now, one way that we can create a crosstab query is by selecting this option here in the wizard. I'm going to go ahead and say OK. The problem with the wizard approach is that it only allows me to choose one table at a time. Let's go ahead and see where this goes. I'm going to go ahead and select the Products table. Let's go ahead and say Next. For this particular crosstab query, let's take a look in comparing our categories and our product lines and finding out how many products are in each category. For this, I'm going to go ahead and choose Categories to appear on the left-hand side of my crosstab query. Go ahead and add it over to the selected fields, and you'll see a placeholder appear down here. Let's go ahead and say Next. Now it asks me what I want my column headings to be. In this case, I'm going to choose Product Line, and you'll see Product Line appear at the top. Finally, what do I want to appear here in the middle? I want to count up my product IDs to find out how many products are in each category and product line. So it already selected Product ID and Count as my function. Let's go ahead and say Next, and we'll save the results here. I'll give it a new name. We'll call it Product Categories. And we'll say Finish to view the query. Now we can see a crosstab representation of all of our products. On the left-hand side, we have our categories, including batteries, grid tie inverters, light bulbs, and so on. Across the top, we have our various product lines. We have our deluxe products and our economy products. And in the middle of the crosstab query, we have a count of how many products fall in each category and product line. Here, this is telling me that I have 2 products that are in the category solar panels that are in the product line of deluxe. And here, if I click on this one represents the 8 products that are in the battery category that fall in the economy product line. So this is how we can use a crosstab query. Let's go ahead and create one manually, and we can see that we have some more options. Let's go ahead and close this query, and we'll go ahead and save it. And we're going to create a new query in Design View. Here, I want to review how our various product categories are performing across different geographic divisions. We can create a crosstab query to compare these results. I'm going to pull out a couple of tables here from the Show Table window, including the States table, the Customers table, the Products table, and the Orders table. Let's go ahead and close the Show Table window. Now from the States table, I'm going to add the region name and the division name. I'm not going to use anything from the Customers table, but from the Products table, I'm going to pull out the product category. And finally, from the Orders table, I want to see the order ID. Now we can turn this into a totals query by pressing the Sigma button up here on the ribbon and changing order ID from group by to count. This will count up each of my products that are ordered within each category and within each division and region within the United States. Let's go ahead and run this query to see the results. Now let's just take a look at this Midwest region. Within the Midwest region, we have the East North Central Division and the West North Central Division. Within each of those divisions, we have the various categories of our products. And after that, I can see a count of how many products were ordered in that category. If I wanted to compare the battery sales in the East North Central Division, and I wanted to compare those to the battery sales in the Mid-Atlantic Division, that takes a little bit of work. I can take a look at this 36 number here and compare it to 77 here. And if I wanted to compare those values to the battery sales in New England, I'd have to compare it to the 9 down here. And you can see that it's not really easy to find these values in this long table. Let's go ahead and re-alter this into a crosstab query that'll be easier to analyze. I'll switch my view back into Design View. And up here on the ribbon, in this Query Types section, I'm going to change the query from a select query over here to a crosstab query here. When I click it, you'll notice that it's a toggle button, so it turns itself on. And down here on the bottom, I have this new row called Crosstab. Here's where we're going to put what appears in our column headers, our row headers, and in the value section that appears in the middle. So let's just go down the list. The region name here is going to be one of our row headings. The division name is also going to be a row headings. Both of those will appear on the left-hand side of the crosstab results. The category here is what I want to show across the top. I'm going to choose column heading. And finally, our orders is going to be the number that appears in the middle of the crosstab results. So I'll go ahead and choose value. Let's go ahead and run this. Now it makes it much easier to compare various product lines. For instance, our batteries are all represented here, And just looking down this list, I can compare batteries for each of our divisions. If I wanted to look at how each individual division was performing, I simply look across the row. Now, crosstab queries are just another way to view the totals query's results. And the things that we learned about totals queries earlier still apply here. Let's go back into Design View. We can apply filtering criteria just like we can with the regular totals queries. Let's say that I wanted to see these results for a specific salesperson. In order to do that, all I need to do is add the salesperson ID from the orders table. Now, just like with the regular totals query, I need to change group by to where to tell it that this is going to be a criteria. Now the only thing I need to know is which salesperson ID I'm interested in seeing. Let's go ahead and take a look at our employees table to find a salesperson. I'll double-click on the employees table, and in the department here, I'll click on the drop-down list, and I'm going to choose Select All to uncheck everything, and I'll scroll down, and I'll just tick on the sales team. Now these are all of my salespeople. Let's take a look at Robert Owen. His employee ID number is 30. If I go back into the query here, underneath salesperson ID, I can put in the criteria row 30, and this will show me the results just for Robert Owen. Let's go ahead and view the datasheet. Now I can see the crosstab results for just Robert Owen. I can see his battery sales here, his light bulb sales here, and if I want to look at each division, I just look across the rows again. So depending on the types of information that you are collecting, the crosstab query can be a good way to visualize a large amount of aggregated data and provide further insight into your data.